This week on All Star Fandom, we discuss the most electrifying man in all of entertainment, The Rock, as he prepares to portray UFC fighter Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine. We ask the question, is The Rock about to cook in this more serious role from A24 Films? To answer that question, I'm joined by two guests, my guy Rufus and special guest Will Pharaoh of Straight Out of a Comic Book. So know your role, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride if you smell what All Star Fandom is cooking. Welcome to All Star Fandom. Be sure to do all the social media stuff before we jump into today's topic. Like, share, subscribe. You know what it is by now. Being joined by two great guests. Rufus, you know him, you love him. Sometimes you hate him. He's been on the show every week with me. I feel like live, whether it's live or taped or recorded, whatever. And also being joined, Rufus. Before, say hello to the people, man. I always give you the stage to say something before we start.
Hello to the people. I know it's been a couple weeks now, right?
Boy, yeah. Work's been kicking your boy's butt for a little.
Yeah, but work kind of been on us. But look, I'm glad to be back, and I'm excited about this topic because you know what, I love The Rock, so I'm ready to get it.
Well, now you're jumping our rundown here because I wanted to to introduce Will as well. So Will, introduce yourself to the people, man. Where they can find you and everything like that.
Hey man, I'm glad that he did throw that out because it goes along with one of my other monikers I use, being called the most electrifying man in digital entertainment. You can find me, Will Pharaoh, Pharaoh, on all social and streaming platforms. That's Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Everything is Will Pharaoh, Pharaoh.
He dabbles in wrestling, video games, movies, TV shows, anything under the sun under that. I started following Will on Arcade Tokens, like with this profile recently, but then on my main one like years ago. So I've been a big fan since then. So thanks for jumping on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So our first and only topic, but we got a little something on the back end of it too. So is The Rock about to cook? So The Rock is set to portray mixed martial arts and UFC champion Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine set to release in 2025. The movie is set to explore the life of Kerr and the peak of his career in 2000 while he navigates career victories, love, friendship, addiction, all of that. Kerr's earned the nickname The Smashing Machine due to his unbridled fighting style. The film is being produced by A24 Films, best known for The Whale with Brendan Fraser, and Iron Claw starring Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, which I just saw was really, really good. A lot to cover in that movie. But The Rock also told Variety in January that with The Smashing Machine, he wants to create and continue to push the envelope when it comes to stories that are raw and real, characters that are authentic, and at times uncomfortable and arresting. He also states, I'm at a point in my career where I want to push myself in ways that I've not pushed myself in the past. I want to make films that matter, explore humanity, and explore struggle and pain. So, with all that mouthful of that, A24 Films creating this, The Smashing Machine, and The Rock jumping into something other than holding a helicopter by a chain to another car. So other than that, Will, as you're our guest this week, what are your expectations for The Rock in this sort of genre of film, especially this part of in his life? He's 51 years old now. What do you think about him taking on this more serious acting roles at this point in his career?
This is what I've been waiting for. Actually, I've seen him portray a few different ones, where it's a little more or less action, a little more serious. Like, and I believe it was Southland that he did. And he did a great job in there. So I think it's the perfect way to set him up to move into giving us something more seriously, something that we wouldn't like like how Jim Carrey did with like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or like number 3. That was a vast, like from Ace Ventura to the Mask.
Yeah.
That was a huge different jump. This one, though, I think he's created a perfect bridge to give us to where we can see that more dramatic side of The Rock. Like, you're still familiar with them doing combat sports, so you're still going to give us like those good movies.
Physical stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you're still going to give us that. And you know how that type of business works, so you know what it's like about having to be around someone who does have drug addiction, someone who does have their highs and their lows when it comes to the business, from an emotional side to a mental side and even to a physical side. So I think being able to finally portray that on screen could really be his opening catapult to him, like you said, no longer just being considered holding a chain to a helicopter attached to another car. And others believe he can realistically pull that shit down.
He was a super soldier, man, somehow. Yeah. Rufus, what do you think?
Actually, he was a regular person. The super soldier was the guy they was beating up or trying to beat up.
Yeah, Idris was
Idris. Oh, yeah. But so here's my take on it. Everybody that knows me know I love The Rock from when he was wrestling and playing football in his early acting days. I thought he was gonna be I knew they was gonna make him an action star. Everybody knew that.
No doubt.
Rundown. After you watched the rundown, you was like, okay. And you saw Arnold Schwarzenegger pass him in the movie, kind of like him passing the action hero.
What did he say? Good luck. I think he.
Yeah.
He was like, good luck.
I was like, so we knew he was gonna be an action star, right? So we all knew that. But the problem is when we look at The Rock now, all we see is an action star.
Really? So you feel that way?
We want to see. I mean, we want to see if he can do more dramatic roles. Like whenever we were looking at Kevin Hart before he did the movie with Bryan Cranston, I can't remember the name of it, where he was in the wheelchair and he's caretaker of him. Mm-hmm. We always looked at Kevin Hart like, oh, he's just gonna do some goofy comedy movie.
He's a funny guy.
We didn't look at him as he's gonna do a actual dramatic role, will make you feel something. You know what I'm saying? Other than just laughing. You get what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to him in this role, portraying the different aspects of life of Eric. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be very interesting considering how big The Rock is and how smaller the actual smashing machine is.
You think he's small? I think you see a picture of Mark Kerr.
I'm just saying compared to The Rock. The Rock is not.
Yeah.
I've seen The Rock in person. Like him and Kerr are vastly
different. And it is the different work that he put into doing mixed martial arts, getting in shape, versus how The Rock actually get in shape, lifting weights 6 hours a day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they did. Different. Well, recently he did post some stuff about him in his MMA training. He recently posted. It was like right after WrestleMania, where he's doing the grappling, he's doing all the MMA stuff. But it was last week, as of this recording, they released that photo of him from the movie. And
I saw that.
A lot of he looked. I had to double take a little bit, and I think where I get to with this one is that I trust A24 Films for this, because they did. I just saw Iron Claw, and again, the Von Erichs. That's a lot of story to cover that they tried to do in 2 hours. But I thought that may have been like one of Zac Efron's best movies. And I think and you saw what they got out of Brendan Fraser for The Whale. So I don't think that studio plays around
for that film.
The Whale.
Oscar for that film, right?
Yeah. So I think The Rock, knowing how serious like this subject is, this character is, and how serious these films are for A24, I think he's gonna go full. He looks all in already.
Here's the thing. I don't mean to cut you off. He gonna have to pull from wherever Mickey Rourke pulled, whatever he pulled it from for the wrestler. He gonna have to pull from there.
But I think he will though. Like we've always seen, like when it comes to anything he does, he fully dedicates into it.
He commits, man.
Yeah. And even with the action stuff, like we know it's his wheelhouse, but let's also face it. We've seen a lot of these action movies, and he ain't Arnold. It ain't one of those like, I just bring the explosions. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Has given us the good job of where it's like, hey man, this was a good action film. I'm
not saying he's not a good actor. He's been gradually getting better in every movie he's in. I don't know if people I've watched every damn movie he's been in. You know, a lot of people don't watch his movies that don't go to the movies. Like all his Netflix joints, I watched all of them. Red Notice with him and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot. That was some really good acting on The Rock. I mean, on all of them, that was good acting. But I really enjoyed that movie.
Well, I know we're going to go into like our top Rock movies before the show's over, but I'm looking at his list of movies right now. Walking Tall was one of those first like ventures into him playing like a real character or a real person, you know.
Yeah.
Gridiron Gang, that was one.
That was an interesting. Yep. With him and Exhibit.
I'll say this much for The Rock, and this might go from, and I know we say we're going to keep wrestling light, but I got to go back to it. The fact that he went from babyface good guy, if you know, we'll put that at the bottom for people who don't know what those terms mean. A babyface in wrestling is the good guy, and then to go to a heel, and then just his recent comeback, it was like another version of himself. So he's recreated himself through wrestling, and I think is gonna mimic his movies as well. He gave us all those Disney movies. He had a good Disney deal. Like, let's not Game Plan, Tooth Fairy, Race to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, the Jungle movie.
He's got it. So like Moana. he's been more versatile.
Do on a live version.
Yeah, and to that point, what it was the game plan, plan. That's what also let me know his seriousness when it does come to a lot of these roles, especially with this one coming up for the Smash Machine, because the fact that their size is different. We saw The Rock drop a lot of weight in the game plan to play. I believe what he was playing, like either a quarterback or a running back.
He was a quarterback,
And you have to be kind of slimmer to that. So to see him make that transition and then to come back like in Fast and the Furious, as you know, The Rock. It's like, that's dedication that I believe like you can't deny from him when you see him in the ring and for stuff like that when it comes to being on set. So especially with something like as to your point, how high of the caliber A24 has put on their movies, I don't think that he's gonna slouch and gonna be a slouch on this and not give 100% when it comes to making this role.
And I'm interested.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I'm real interested to see his mixed martial arts skills, because people really don't understand. Going from what he did in wrestling, this is a whole different subject that he got to really focus on. Like we saw Brock Lesnar, like literally in the octagon, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's a different.
So we've seen Ken Shamrock in the octagon. You know what I'm saying? So like we know the training these guys had to go through, and I'm not saying The Rock can't do it. The man can do anything physical. You know, anything he put his mind to, he can do it. I just want to see his skills and how they, progress or how they're gonna look on film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think I do think he'll look legit just from his size alone too. But this goes into a certain thing. It's like when you see like an actor play basketball, where you can like look at him and shoot a ball and like, nah, you don't play. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like that ain't you, man. I don't think I'll get that vibe from The Rock. Like, I really don't.
That's because his dedication to actually throwing himself into things, he's gonna make it look as real as he possibly can.
Yeah, I do have a question as much as he does. Go ahead, Will.
And I do have a question though. So I'm not sure if y'all know, in his contracts, he normally has a clause where he can't lose a fight. Like he has
for real?
Yeah. That's why it's like most of his stuff, and if it is, and he technically it's not a loss, it's kind of something stops it to where it's like, okay, we gotta it stops it so we can get to the big fight and he wins.
Was this first like addressed like in Fast 5? I feel like this was that's why that fight with him and Vin Diesel came to.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I remember this, Will. That's
what I was gonna say.
Because if you notice, they never finished their fight.
I'm finna say, no, the fight was over with. The fight was done. Because Vin Diesel put the ass whooping on him. The fight was over with. The wrench was about to enter his skull. If Vin Diesel hadn't stopped himself, it would have been, conclusive.
Rufus, okay, talk about a super soldier. The whole cast of Fast and Furious went from like grease monkeys to.
I know they went from like still in DVDs to like super spies. I mean, I thought it was just me. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So as soon as The Rock hopped out of that big truck, was like Toretto. Vin Diesel was beat then in my mind. Like he shouldn't have. That should have been it.
Yo,
look, I always look at Vin Diesel though. Look, I don't look at it. I don't see Vin Diesel. I see Riddick, and we know he's one of the coldest pieces of work in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Rufus, I knew I liked you. I liked you. Because people be hating on Riddick, bro.
I know, right?
I think Chronicles of Riddick was a dope ass movie.
I think so too.
Nobody say.
I think so too. I don't care what nobody say either.
Yeah, even the newest one, I was like, yo, and then I heard we getting another one where they actually going to Planet Furia.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see Planet Furia. Yeah, I want to see what is going down over here. How he became the way he is innately in his spirit from birth. When you have a whole civilization fearing you from birth, I know we on the side, Mr. Deonne. My bad, dog. When you have a whole people fearing you from birth, you a cold piece of work, dog. And fearing your whole race.
Yes. That man can kill the whole planet because you were supposed to kill him. And you ain't even out your daddy nutsack yet. But like, drop the whole shit on. Drop it all.
Exactly.
I did. I like Pitch Black a lot. Riddick, I was okay with it. But wait, hear me out. He probably had one of the best video games I ever played, Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yo, that's an underrated game.
That game, Rufus, it goes from first person to third person, and you do the eyes and stuff. You're in jail.
It's the prison. First one, like where you see like the shadows too. So like there's one part I specifically remember where you have to go into a vent. You can see your shadow.
It was so detailed. It was
with a knife and everything. Like you see when you move, the shadow moves. Like it's such an underrated video game.
Very. I would say that. So if I like Riddick, give me that game, and I don't have to watch Riddick. But it was okay.
Look, that's my apologies for taking us on that side mission, sir. We get
I didn't mind going down it though. I didn't mind going down. I always got some time to talk about Riddick.
So I guess from just our discussions, I think our expectations are pretty high of The Rock being able to pull this off. I looked into Mark Kerr, his life and stuff, his addiction and all that. The Rock's gonna, I won't say Mickey Rourke, but if that's the example that we're gonna use,
I'm just saying.
I think you have to, because he was at the highest of highest.
The wrestler, right?
Yeah.
We all watched that movie, right? And you remember the emotional highs and lows Mickey Rourke took you through in that movie, and then at the end of the movie, especially after the doctor told him, like, dude, if you wrestle again, you won't be able to walk no more. Like, you got to give it up.
Yeah.
And then, like, the end of the movie, he's jumping off the ropes. Like, he's like, man, fuck it, this is my life. Excuse me, I ain't mean to cuss.
It happens.
He's like, this is my life. This is all I ever wanted to do. This is all I've ever done. And I'm going to die doing what I love. You know what I'm saying? So if The Rock can tap into whatever he tapped into for that movie, man, I'm expecting, and I don't know, maybe my expectations shouldn't be this high, but they are, because it's The Rock. You know, I always expect him to deliver greatness. You know what I'm saying? Because we've come to expect that from him.
I agree, Rufus. Like just seeing the transition and seeing the image I saw when they were just like, yo, it's The Rock in his newest film. I was like, where?
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't no picture of The Rock. Now look,
and that's exactly what I said. When I saw the picture, I was like, this don't look like that. Don't look like the way.
But this is gonna be that first one. I feel like we can, like, this is why I say, like, I got high expectations too, Rufus, because I feel like this is that one where we'll finally have a movie where it's like, yo, you do not see The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, this is The Rock, the actor, playing her. And that's why I feel like he's going to sell this so well to where we don't see.
Like he got to tap into whatever Jamie Foxx tapped into for Ray.
Yeah.
Whatever Will Smith tapped into for Ali. Because you didn't see Will Smith. You saw Ali.
Yep.
You saw Ray Charles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see the smashing machine. I'm sorry. I don't want to see The Rock playing the smashing machine, if that makes sense.
Well, no, Will, you make a great point because I'm looking through his list of movies. It's The Rock. Like, I'm looking through, it's The Rock. I don't see okay, the only character I do see is Spencer Strassmore because he essentially became that character in real life from Ballers.
From Ballers?
Yeah.
I see why you're saying it because of the XFL thing.
Yeah,
that's
true.
But
everything else, it's kind of like the Denzel effect. Oh, The Rock is saving everybody from the San Andreas fault line. Oh, The Rock gets stuck in a video game called Jumanji.
Look, what movie was that when he had the fake leg? I forget, and he was still saving people.
Skyscraper.
That's it. I'm sorry. Skyscraper. That's the one I'm thinking about.
The Rock is fighting giant animals in Rampage.
Dude, and Rampage was on point.
Rampage was on point. Yo, people stepped on Rampage, dog.
They did. I agree with
They really did. But like I said, man.
No, I think to sum it up from what Will said and you too, Rufus, I want to not see The Rock because we've seen it's just The Rock in everything else, just like we went through just there. But I got high hopes, man. Like, again, taking it back to wrestling, he was one of those guys he was in WWF, WWE now. He was the guy I gravitated to the most when I started watching, even like his Rocky Maivia days. But then he came out with The Nation, and I was like, all right, his career was only 7 years, I think. Like his time his main run was 7 years.
Yeah, and you think about the impact he had within those 7 years, the character changes that changed like the face of wrestling. Like that's like superstardom impact, which he is. You know what I'm saying? Like the only people that's really ever done that is Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan didn't make really good. Hulk didn't make good movies, man. Like,
well, I'm not
Suburban
saying
Commando.
Like changing the
what was Will? what was good?
Like the center was good.
Hey,
I liked Suburban Commando, man. That's my all time.
Wow. Did you really though?
Ramsey?
Did you really though?
Or because you had to watch it. It's in my DNA now. So now I just gotta have it.
That's The Rock. I think he's gonna cook in this role. I think he has a lot of good things going in the A24 films and everything like that. So, but I want to go into one more thing. So The Rock's had a slew of movies since first coming out as the Scorpion King in The Mummy, right? And then we get CG Rock as a Scorpion. You know, that happened. And then after that, he gets his Mummy. He gets his Scorpion King movie. And then in 2002, and we've known him as an actor since then. So, Will, again, as our esteemed guest, I'm going to throw it over to you. Your top 3 The Rock movies. I almost said Rocky Maivia. Her top 3.
Yeah.
No, so we're gonna start from 3 and go to 1. So Will, if do you have your 3 now, or we can jump over? You got your 3. Okay, what's your number 3?
I don't want to be judged.
Just throw it out there. Don't worry about judgment. You got to just throw it out there.
Doom is my number 3.
Oh God!
Wait. I just want to make sure I heard him correctly. Excuse me. I have to come closer to the camera because I didn't hear that. Can you repeat yourself, please, sir?
I said, Doom.
Doom. Okay.
Before you move on to number 2 and number 1, you gotta give us a reason why.
Man, I don't care what nobody say. Doom was good. Doom for what it was good.
See, you can't say that about a movie. For what it was good.
Not this one. Not this one. Look, I was gonna try to give you a pass on that one, dog.
Doom, it was creepy.
My God.
Let's hear him out.
Look, it was creepy. It was futuristic. I didn't know what was going on. I was a little terrified from it. It gave me all the elements that I needed, even going to the POV mode of them shooting to give homage to the video game.
That's by far the best part.
Thank you.
By far the best part.
Yeah,
that was the best part.
But I enjoy watching it just because, again, I like sci-fi. So like my mom raised me up on sci-fi. So to see The Rock in a sci-fi movie and stuff, that's what just really made me go like, yo, I really enjoy this. And then two, Carl Urban is in it. And Carl Urban is one of my favorite actors because he, I would say, is probably, not, I wouldn't say second, but maybe third or fourth when it comes to action films. Because I really feel like he should got another run at Judge Dredd. Like that Dredd
we're still waiting for that.
That movie was so good.
So
and
So Will, I'll tell you this real quick, just a little side mission. I watched Dredd, his Dredd the first time, loved it. He kept the helmet on, fantastic movie. Then I went back and watched Stallone's just because I wanted to remember it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I get it. Stallone has to show his face, but
I am the law.
I am the law.
You will be judged.
Okay, but if you look at Stallone, his like how built he was, and he looked like the comic book, right? Yeah. So they were like, great, this is perfect. But anytime they take off a helmet of anybody, I'm out of it. That's why I haven't watched Halo since he took off the helmet. But that's for another show for another day.
I would just say, just to cue that in, that is one of the ones where I'm like, okay, they justified him taking that off.
Oh, did they?
I will say that if you watch, I just finished watching season 2. It justifies why he has to take it off.
But I'm gonna say you mad at him for taking his helmet off of Halo, but you ain't said shit when Mando took his helmet off.
It was story based, man. Like it was always it was.
I ain't like it. Especially
Mando,
when he was like,
Mando is supposed to never ever take his helmet off. He's supposed to be in the shower with that helmet on like this.
But it was Grogu, man. Like it was.
I don't get don't bring Baby Yoda into this. No,
thank you.
That whole Mandalorians ain't nothing. But we're not gonna get distracted.
Well, let's throw it over to the man who likes Doom. Since I already get off my back. Number 2.
You didn't have to return it to me like that. You could have been like, we're gonna jump back in with your
Oh man.
So I just gotta get the heat off my back, man. So number 2. What's your number 2, Will?
My number 2 pick for The Rock is Faster. Faster, man. I love the simplicity. It was simple. You got what it was, and it did not let up that entire time. That was one. That was really one of those.
As soon as the credits went off, it's straight action.
Straight action, and I enjoyed that. It kept you in your seat and within the movie. Like it wasn't no extra put in there. It wasn't no side mission and stuff. We got right to it. It was a revenge plot, and I loved every second.
It was gritty as hell.
And that may have been his first movie back into like the action world too. I think. Just looking at this, that came in 2010, and then Fast 5 was the next year. So that was his introduction back into.
Wait a minute, was Snitch before Faster though, wasn't it? And that was
Snitch was after. Snitch was in 2013.
That was after. Okay.
It was after. That was the first time I was like, why does The Rock need a gun? That was the only time I was ever scared. Like Rock don't need no gun for nothing, but him
he didn't need one. Because when he walked into the building and that Samoan saw his tattoos, he ain't need no gun. Nope. His reputation alone preceded him. You feel me?
Yes.
Like motherfuckers already terrified of him. They already heard who he was before he got out. Come on, dog.
Yep. I love that.
That gun was just to put an exclamation on it, like
that was it. You're like, well, we can't talk to you at all. Everybody up. So here's the gun. We'll tie that in somehow. Like, okay, you got shot, so now you got to go shoot them to justify. But I enjoyed it all the way to the very end.
And then I also think that gun was a part of his story from the way he was done. Getting shot in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying?
I might need to go back and rewatch this one too, because I watched it a few times, but it's been a very long time. But the poster for Faster is like faster. Slow justice is no justice. Like that's action out the ass right there, man.
Straight up action and justify for everything that happened to him.
Yep.
What was going on? Only caveat I will say, not sure why he had a white brother, but hey,
here's the thing. It can happen. It can happen.
Who you got for number 1, man? What's your number 1 Rock movie?
Number 1, and I wish they would have kept again, another one I wish they would have kept going within this universe. G.I. Joe Retaliation. Man, that like to take something that I love like G.I. Joe and the spin that they gave it to him playing Roadblock, classic. Okay. I loved how, because the first one was very Marvel like. You know what I'm saying?
Is that the Marlon Wayans and is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
Like no disrespect to them.
I know you saying it was very Marvel like. I don't mean to cut you off, but I really enjoyed that.
I did. That's why I'm not hating on it. That's why I'm like, I get what y'all were doing with it. And it worked. Yeah, but to see this one more gritty and put within the military construct of it and to give it that realism to it, I enjoyed that very much. And to see like how the G.I. Joes are now like they public enemy number one, to see him go back and I was so glad to see him go to the hood, not to where it's like, hey, my hood is Boston, Massachusetts or something. Like, nah, you going to the hood with D. Ray Davis and them. It's like, okay, about time. Yeah, go home.
And I don't understand, like I enjoyed that movie and I thought there would be sequels after that, but they
fell off.
There's nothing else from that, right? There was no sequel.
No,
to that movie, right?
They went from that to the Snake Eyes movie.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes was after. Was that 2013 was when G.I. Joe Retaliation came out. So the next film was Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
Oh god, that's a big gap. That's a 10-year, almost 10-year gap.
Yeah, I think, but also too though, I think it was also The Rock was doing a lot of stuff, so they couldn't schedule him to be in it, and then at that point, Hasbro was taking a new route with everything, because that's around the time too that they were deciding to change up Transformers.
Yeah, and it looks like they're trying to do this Hasbro universe too with the last few movies that they've done. But you're right, Will. Like you said, 2013 was when that movie came out. Empire State came out, Pain and Gain came out, Fast and Furious 6 came out, Hercules came out the next year. He started filming Ballers. There was no time for him to get in at all. This man was doing like 2 movies a year, it felt like.
Yeah, and then went to wrestling right after that, because I think that was around the time too, like where...
Was that John Cena?
Yeah, I think that was John Cena and him in that second.
See, that's just a wild time, man. But Will, I'll say, so run down your list one more time. You got Doom at number 3, No Judgment. Faster at number 2, solid action movie to drop him back into that role. And then G.I. Joe Retaliation. Again, I enjoyed that movie. I had Bruce Willis too.
I like that list, Will. I like that list, except for Doom, but I like that list.
Hey,
we said no judgment, man. We said no judgment, right? So Rufus, let's jump over to you, man. You're 3. So what's your number 3?
You made this one difficult, dog. 3. I gotta pick 3 out of all the Rock movies.
No,
yes.
Only 3.
Only a sucker would say like top 10, and the man has like 15 movies. like this is, and we're pressed for time.
Okay, here we go. My top 3. All right, Faster is number 3. Entertaining, full of action, and the stories from the different characters is what grabs me of why they were doing or why they did the job that they did. You know what I'm saying? That was interesting. Why they was rolling with this cop and pulling heist with people that pull heist. It was very interesting.
The way you put it.
That's the truth, though. That's what it is.
It is.
It's a simple premise, but it made a lot of sense.
Very odd way of putting it, though, but we get it.
Number 2.
Number 2, man.
The Rundown.
Okay.
The Rundown. Because I guess the first movie I actually went to the movies, and I was like, okay, The Rock is in this movie. Let's see what he's about.
It was his second movie.
I know it was his second movie, but the first one, I'm saying the first one, I went to the movies to see him. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm finna see if he really about that business, because I heard everybody was talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I finally went to go see this movie, and the scene in the club is what got me. Before he threw the whole record player, just the fighting scene, it was
option
what got
A or
me.
option B.
Yeah.
Like, so, he was like, you can slip it to me under the table on the low.
Yeah, on the low.
Yeah. Great personality too, the way he brought it. It was like it ain't that rock confidence, but it's still like, hey, listen.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm trying to be fair.
I was a chef. Yeah,
he was a chef, right? Like he was.
Yeah, he was. He was an inspiring chef, just trying to pay his debt and do what he got to do to get from under the thumb of the mob. You feel me? That's all he was trying to do. And my number one.
But before you jump into that, I just one small side mission, but not too long. Got to shout out Ernie Reyes in that movie because
goodness.
Oh yeah,
the fight scene in that jump.
Yes.
Ooh, that boy been kicking butt since the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah. Kino, man. That's since Kino for me.
And that's another thing. Did he not lose that fight?
Who, The Rock? No.
In the contract. I mean, per his contract. He lost that fight in that jungle.
This is before he became like the most highest paid actor.
He got his butt kicked.
Yeah. And we're going to have to come back to that because I think Samuel L. Jackson is still the highest paid actor.
I think he's the most. I think he's done the most. I don't know if he's the highest paid. Yeah. Well, no. I think the highest grossing. No. So you're right. We do need to come back to that. I think they said the highest grossing, not the highest paid. The highest grossing actor.
Okay. So, and my number one. Y'all ready for this? Can you get a drum roll?
I think I know what it is.
Well, you already know what it is.
I hope I know what it is.
Aldous Hodges. Come on now. You know what it is. Yeah.
Really?
I took you left when you thought it was going right. Yeah. Black Adam. That's my number one. Yes. Yeah.
Black Adam hard, bro.
See, I know you wasn't expecting that. I told you.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I
told you how I felt about Black Adam with The Rock playing a superhero dog. I was in it. I wanted more. I want all the movies.
Well,
I wanted him to fight Superman. I wanted him to fight the little Shazam. I wanted to see all of that, man.
And that's why I say people hated on that movie. That was not The Rock's fault. Like people really tried to like make it seem like
it was all his fault. Yep.
It was all his fault. It wasn't. That movie got made during a time where the DCEU was going through so many dramatic changes and stuff like that.
So many.
That you just everything that Black Adam was supposed to have in it, they just did not put in there for him. And that was not on him. So the fact that he even had the villain that he had, and that's like one of his lowest forms of villain.
Yeah.
So that wasn't his fault. He did what he worked with the best he had.
Okay, where were we? My three, right?
Yes, your top three, sir. That's where we are.
Okay. Do the Fast Five movies, does Fast and the Furious movies count as his?
Yeah, they count.
It counts as one. It counts as one.
Yeah, it counts as one movie. Fast Five.
But which one would you say though is your highlight in that?
It's Fast Five.
Fast Five.
I knew it. I knew it.
Fast Five. Him breaking through that window. I saw that in the preview, and I was like, "Oh, they got my money already, man."
Yeah.
And that was him getting back into that action role too. So seeing him buffed out, I guess super oily, just fighting, shooting guns. Let's do that, man. I'm here for it. It was like 80s action again, man. Rufus, you know.
Yeah. Commando action. Yeah.
Oh man, Commando. Man, is that the one he chopped down a tree?
Yes.
And put it over his shoulder
like this. Yes. With the chainsaw in the other hand, like, yeah, I got this. Come on, dog.
Oh, like your balance is perfect. You balancing a tree, Aaron, and you walking,
yeah,
and shifted or
look, he walking through the terrain of a mountain. Come on, man.
he even like
not one bit.
Like in the mall, he picked up that phone booth with that guy inside
and flipped it.
That's my type of action, man. That's mine.
Thank you.
So number two, again, no judgment, right?
No. What you got?
It was a toss-up. They went back from 1 and 2. Number 2 is the Scorpion King for me.
You really went down that road, huh?
The movie itself.
So you picked that one for nostalgia reasons, didn't you?
No, I actually do love that movie.
For real?
So
really?
that movie,
really? You was feeling that one.
I remember going to the movies on a Friday night, seeing that movie. And again, this is 2002 Rock. Like we're fresh off WrestleMania 17. Like we're in it. We're at the height of his popularity in wrestling at this point. and he reminded me a lot of this movie. Reminded me a lot of like Conan the Destroyer or Conan the Barbarian. That's what it made me feel like when I watched that. Even him with that sword.
Yep.
You didn't seen a guy like that do that since Arnold as Conan. And come on, man, you still had comedy in it. It was Michael Clark Duncan was in that movie.
That fight with them swords broke. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Like that
I'm
was
gonna be honest with you.
Telling you up for yourself.
You know, I thought your second was gonna be Hercules.
I didn't enjoy that one.
You didn't like Hercules?
Rufus, how long you know me, man?
Remember we talked about we talked about that one though. We talked about that one at length. You know,
a little bit, but no, Scorpion King was my number 2. I love it.
Yeah, and it's certain small things that just for me myself will make me ruin the whole movie. With Hercules, it was that wig.
It was the hair.
I'm not watching an hour and 30 of this. I'm not watching an hour and 30 of this. No, I can't do it.
Yeah, that was for me too. That's the one that kind of ruined it for me. And the storyteller.
Yeah,
that was the storyteller.
But let's be honest, the hair in Scorpion King, flawless.
What wasn't flawless was the villain, and that's the thing I couldn't get behind because
it was a weak villain.
No, and the thing was that's not a weak person, and they whitewashed him. So the person that he was portraying was Memnon, and they completely got him wrong. So Memnon is actually the only Black Greek god in ever recorded history, and he's the king of Ethiopia. So did you ever see what it was? What's the one with Brad Pitt?
Troy?
Troy?
Troy. Yeah. There's a huge part in Troy that they took out. So it's a time where the Trojans and the Persians, they do a ceasefire. The Persians are like, time out. And they call upon Memnon to come down from Africa to assist in this battle. And at this time, Memnon had an army as far as the eye could see. That's where that came from. Like that's why Ethiopia is one of the only places that wasn't conquered. And him and Troy actually get into a battle with one another that Zeus pretty much goes like, yo, I want to see this. He had Hephaestus make them make armor, everything. And then Memnon actually winds up, which is funny, getting killed by Achilles by the same type of thing, which was his Achilles heel. And Memnon's mother is Eos, the Titan of the sun. She comes down, and Zeus is so moved by her tears for her son being killed that he makes him immortal and turns him into a god. And then he returns back, and that's why Ethiopia has never been seized or conquered by colonizers. But to whitewash him the way
they really did.
I'm like, come on.
Wow.
Good
Great history.
I knew it was a weak villain, but I didn't know the backstory.
I didn't know the backstory either.
That's the backstory of Memnon, man. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, the Rock, warrior, legend, king is right above the poster. But anyway, that was my number 2. My number 1 is The Rundown. Rufus, what was that on yours? Like number 2?
That was number 2.
Number 2. Yeah.
That was my number 1. That was his second film. You had, and I think I look back at it now, it was The Rock essentially being The Rock, but he was still this chef, but he knew how to kick it. It was weird. It was a weird dynamic, right?
He was trying to find himself while trying to get out of trouble.
Yeah, but then
because I think he used to run with like a bad crowd and stuff.
Yes. But just given that cast, this was one hell of a cast around him too. He had Sean William Scott, he had Christopher Walken, and he had Rosario Dawson, right? So that's one hell of a second movie cast to get. And it felt big. The action scenes were huge in that. Again, we talked about the fight scene in the jungle. It made me feel like I was watching, like we just talked about Commando, right? Just an 80s sort of action movie, an adventure movie, like the ones that we don't get like we used to get back then. This was like a throwback to it, and they were after this artifact too. So you had a little Indiana Jones in it. You had those sort of pieces, and I still remember that one line where like Sean William Scott was like I found you. He had the Gato in his hand. I found you, not like some professor, whatever. I found you. The Rock in the back was like, who gives a like he was home. like while he was holding the trap, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was going through all that. But it was such a good movie. It was such a good action movie from start to finish. That still is my favorite Rock movie. But yeah, Will, Rufus, thanks for Jordan. This week, man, really appreciate it. We went over the Rock's career. We went through our favorite movies, along with if he can pull this role off as the Smashing Machine that comes out next year. But Will, once again, man, let everybody know your socials. I'll have them in the description and stuff below, and I'll tag in everything. But let people know where they can find you, man.
Yes, indeed. Y'all can find me on all streaming and social platforms at Will Pharaoh. That's PHARAOH. You can find me on everything: Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, everything under that name. I'm usually doing it with the Women's Wrestling Talk podcast on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I also stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On Twitch and YouTube, play video games. They can come watch me do graphics and stuff like that, all kind of other things. And then on Saturday, it is straight out of a comic book. And of course, I'm going to have these two wonderful talents on here very soon, so we can talk about Mortal Kombat and some other stuff too. Just have y'all come on other episodes as well and everything. But yeah, appreciate y'all time. Appreciate y'all having me on here.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, Rufus, anything from your side of the world, man?
No, y'all know me, man. Your favorite chef. You can on all the platforms. Docs pop up. Just look me up. Holla at your boy.
And yeah, during your time as a chef, you also go procure items, money from people who owe, all that sort of thing too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, all that.
We won't say anything else about that.
All that.
But but yeah, this has been another episode of All Star Fandom. Again, thanks to my guests for joining me today, Rufus and Will. Follow All Star Fandom Show on Instagram, TikTok, over here on YouTube too. Subscribe. I mean, it's the same spiel we give every week that everybody on YouTube gives every week. But hey, do it for us because we do it for you too. But yeah, once again, that's our episode for this week. Until next time, peace.
Peace.